What's up, everyone? This is Manny again. I'm going to install some 1-inch BORA spacers made in America. As you can see right there. 1-inch spacers on my 2002 Highlander because I want to install some wheels from a car. That car happens to be a 2013 Hyundai Sonata wheel right there. And the problem is that the tire rubs against the rear strut because of the offset. So I'd have to install some BORA spacers, and I went with a 1-inch to make sure the clearance is enough and that if I want to replace it in another wheel, I have enough space. So these were the previous wheels on my Highlander. They're from a limited Highlander 2002. I installed the Hyundai wheels, and that's what it looks like right there. I did one side already, and it came out pretty good. And I did the rear ones also. The rear ones came out pretty good too. Studs tend to stick out further out than the front ones, as you can see right here. That little extra chunk right there, a little piece, sticks out too much, so it won't sit flush for the spacers. So when you mount it on the wheel, it'll interfere. See, the front ones are good. The front ones don't interfere. They sit recessed in there. You don't want the stud sticking out and interfering with how flush the wheel sits on the spacer or adapter. Because some catastrophic damage could happen. You can lose a wheel and potentially kill yourself or somebody else. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that it's a little bit recessed in there and does not stick out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove most of this rust, or as much as I can, to get it nice and smooth, so it makes better contact, more flush contact with the hub part of the rotor, and then also the center bore. Clean that up a little bit, add some anti-seize, so when it sits, it doesn't seize up later on when I want to remove the spacer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this grinder, and I'm going to go around here and here, and whatever spots I can't get, I'm going to go over it with Scotch-Brite. Alright, so I cleaned it with the grinder, the air grinder, with the plastic grinding tip on it, and it's not perfect, but you don't want any high spots. That's all you really don't want in there, because as far as the rust and getting it all perfect, you're going to be all day, all night trying to get that off. It's not going to happen. But now I'm going to go over it with the Scotch-Brite. See? Scotch-Brite. The maroon looking stuff. It's the harder stuff. So where you can't get in with the grinder, you want to kind of go over with it with this stuff. And also get the center bore, the hub center bore. Alright, I did the Scotch-Brite, and I did as much as I could. It seems like there's no more high spots on there. Everything's pretty flush. So I'm going to take some brake cleaner, just hit that up a little bit, make sure it gets all that nasty rust off. And then hit it up a little bit. There you go. Like I said, it's not going to look pretty perfect unless you paint it or something. or you spend all day and night trying to get that off. But the high spots, you don't want high spots of rust. You want it to sit flush. So this is pretty smooth now, even though it doesn't look like it is, but it is. So now what I'm going to do is to take some anti-seize, some of the silver stuff, and then put it right on the center bore hub area, right there. And you don't have to put that much on it, just a little bit, and then just wipe it, like so. So you have to wipe that off. But now you just take your fingertip and you wipe the excess off. See that? Just wipe it off on a rag or something. Just keep wiping off, spreading it and wiping the excess off. Got it right there. That's about all you need. You don't need very much. You want to, so when the adapter spacer goes on, you want it to be able to get it off. So now I'm taking some red high strength thread lock, and all I'm gonna do is just put a little line on there like so. See? Like so. It's inside the threads now. Just do that again. The line, and another little line. A red thread lock, high strength. See, keeps it a little neat, clean, and just on the threads, nowhere else. Now I'm going to take the 1-inch BORA spacer, put it on there like that. And this BORA spacer is 1 inch, and the center bore is 60.1 millimeters. That's usually what Toyotas are. And then 5 by 114.3 lug pattern. I'm going to take 5 of the BORA supplied lug nuts and put them on there. Turn them. Alright, so we're down to the torquing part of it. And I've seen a lot of people do it different ways. Like, they get a friend to torque them, or they wedge a screwdriver in between the studs, and I don't want to go that route because I don't want to damage the threads on the studs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wedge a pry bar to push down on the brake for me. I'll show you. So when you don't have anybody to help you push on the brake, just take a pretty long pry bar. Doesn't have to be super long, but I believe this one's like a 24-inch pry bar. And just push and then wedge it against the seat. It doesn't need very much pressure. It's kind of dark, so it doesn't need very much pressure to hold the brake for you. I'm going to proceed to torquing these. I'm going to put them at, they say about 80, but I'm going to go 90. I'm going to go a little extra. And you want to go in a star pattern. And it's holding for me. 1. You want to go in a star pattern. 2. 3. 4. 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a retightening, so retorquing. Just go over it one more time. As you can see, that wedged pry bar held the brakes just fine. And now it's time to put on the wheel. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to show you how, see, nothing sticks out from the adapter. Everything's flush. So this will not interfere with the wheel once you put it on. It's gonna sit nice and flat against the adapter or spacer. So these are Hyundai Sonata wheels, and Hyundais tend to have a larger bore diameter, center bore, than Toyotas. I believe, if I can recall, Hyundai center bores are 67.1 millimeter, and Toyotas are 60.1 millimeter. So what I did is I bought a hub-centric ring and installed it. It's pretty tight in there, so it's nice and pretty much, yeah, so it's pretty flat. And this is pretty much turns it into a Toyota wheel center bore size, because now it went from 67.1 to 60.1 center bore, and I'll show you how it fits nice and tight. So for the Hyundai, I had to buy some of these acorn style lug nuts so they can sit, because the Toyota wheels are a different style. They have these centering type lug nuts, so those won't work on these Hyundai wheels. So you buy some of these acorn style ones and they sit perfect actually. So I wanted to show you guys the center bore, how it sits. So yeah, the black part is the center bore for the spacer, which is 60.1, and the silver part is that a centric ring I ordered for to turn the 67.1 millimeter bore from the Hyundai to 60.1, and it sits very snug and actually perfect, and that way it removes the stress. If you don't have these center bore rings here, or if it doesn't sit on the center bore hub, puts a lot of stress on your lug nuts, and they can eventually break if you hit a big enough pothole or something, or put too much load on it, too much stress, what have you. But if you have it like this, it puts most of the load on the center bore. Not saying it's not going to take, it's going to take the whole load off the lug nuts, but it's not going to put all of the load on the lug nuts, you understand? So now we got to just torque these wheels, and I'm going to torque them to about 90 as well, just to be on the safe side. So that wedged pry bar still holding the wheel or the brakes for me. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn these all the way until they get to snug, and I'm not gonna click them yet because I want to torque them evenly. Until they reach about the end of the threads. And now they're all snug. Now I'm gonna torque them to the 90 foot-pounds. All right, that's tight. But according to the instructions of the manufacturers of the BORA spacers, they want you to drive it, I believe it said 5 miles, but I think I'm gonna drive them 10 miles. And what they want you to do is take the wheels off, retorque the spacers to the same torque, and then reinstall them. And then on top of that, I'm gonna go the extra mile and retorque them after 50 miles, just to be on the safe side that nothing's come loose. And I'm gonna recheck everything, make sure all the spacers are nice and tight, there's no cracks, everything's perfect. So now moving on to the rear ones. I'm gonna have to take off the little extra part of the stud in here, a little extra piece, because that does not sit inside the spacer and will not allow the wheel to sit flush against the spacer. So what I'm going to do is I use this on the other side. It's a sacrificial lug nut. Kind of guides me to where I want to cut. Like, so I don't cut too much. It's going to guide me when I'm doing the cutting part of it. See, as you can see, I cut or grinded a little bit of it, and I don't want to go too much. So what I'm doing is I'm going about this whole piece and one thread in, and this is going to guide my cutting wheel, so it just cuts that as straight as I can get it. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but as straight as I can get it. And it also, what I do is I work it back and forth to clean them up, the beginning part of the threads, because you might get them a little bit damaged. So doing this, going back and forth with them, will clean up the threads a little bit. So I'm going to cut that and I'll show you the result. So this is my cutting wheel, and I'm gonna cut that right. I'll show you on this side, right there. And that lug nut is gonna guide my cutting wheel so it doesn't cut too much. So that right there is the cut. So yeah, you want to work it back and forth a little bit. So, see how you see a little burr right there? You want to take a file and then just hit it straight up and flatten it out, deburr it, and there it is. It's not flat, but it's deburred. And what we want to do is take one of the spacer lug nuts and just start it out. Make sure it goes in smooth and doesn't bind up on the way in there. And if it does, it's good. It's good to go. And then you just repeat 4 more times. And what I'm going to do is also I'm going to just paint this section that I cut black so it doesn't get all ugly and rusty. Just paint it with like some touch-up paint or paint pen, it doesn't matter. You just don't want it exposed and start to corrode. But I'm going to repeat this a few more times and I'll come back. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice and trimmed, cut evenly. They are cut to about slightly under an inch of stud sticking out. So that's about what you want. You don't want more than that. If you get more than that, you might have interference for the wheel. And well, that's it. Now I'm going to just do as I did in the front. Clean the hub part of the rotor, the center bore, put some anti-seize, some thread lock on the studs, and torque the spacers on, torque the wheels on, drive it 10 miles, bring it back, remove the wheels, retorque them again, retorque the wheels again, and then drive it for 50 more miles. And a little disclaimer, BORA, the manufacturers of the BORA spacers, say do not use impact tools on the spacers or it will void their warranty. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe they are lifetime warranty of manufacturer defects. But if you use the improper tools, it will void your warranty. Just an FYI. Now, as you guys can see, now sits flush. Nothing sticks out. Now that would be safe to mount the wheel after you torque them. Nothing sticks out right there. So they were cut, the whole length was cut to just under an inch. And that's enough to clear the 1-inch BORA spacer. So yeah, to hold the rears, all you need to do is apply the parking brake, and that should be enough to hold it for you, in case you don't have anybody to help you out. Now it's time to torque them. So it's done now. Oh man, it looks a lot better. Those wheels don't tuck in as much. It's a lot more flush looking. And those are my carbon mist black wheels. They're a Rust-Oleum wheel, painted wheel. Actually, Hyundai Sonata 2013. I'm gonna get some center caps for it, but yeah, looks good. Wheels don't sit in very much, barely any. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks way better. These are nicer wheels than these. I call them mature wheels. That's not my style. Like a little bit more aggressive look. But yeah, that is it right there. The reason I did this is because I've seen a lot of truck adapter videos. I haven't seen too many crossovers or anything, and I just wanted to make one to help you out. I haven't seen too many crossovers with BORA spacers, but this is one of them. It looks freaking nice. I'll finish up. I'm gonna drive it 10 miles and I'll be back. So I drove it about 10 miles. It drives great. I mean, it doesn't pull. The alignment doesn't pull. It doesn't even drift a little bit. It drives awesome. It handles great now. It's wider, the track. Yeah, and I'm gonna take off the wheels and retorque the spacers again now, as it indicates in the instructions for the BORA manufacturer instructions. So I'm going to do that now. Now I'm not going to take them off with an impact. I'm going to loosen them up with a breaker bar and then retorque them and then torque them back with a torque wrench. No, by manufacturer's instructions, it says absolutely no impact tools. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I got my breaker bar. It's a pretty long one, snap on. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove them. Gotta be careful not to scratch my wheels. So I just inspected all the spacers, the BORA spacers. Make sure there was no cracks during the test drive and the torquing. And they look good, perfect. And I believe that they want you to seat them. That's why they ask you to drive it for a few miles and then retorque them so they seat in there properly. Yeah, no cracks, looks good. quality spacer. You know, you guys can go with whatever spacer you want, but if you want peace of mind and quality and not have to worry, just go with a decent spacer. I went with BORA. They don't pay me or anything. I'm just saying, I'm trying to recommend high quality stuff. And this brand, I believe a lot of lifted truck people use them, like, you know, with big wheels and stuff, and they swear by them. So, and so far so good, you know. Yep, and that's my install right there, all torqued up, ready to go. I'll probably do a review on it after like about 500 miles, see how they're holding up and how it drives. I've already said that it drives good, but you know, with a little bit more break-in, who knows. So we'll see how they hold up, but from what I've heard, they're very good quality spacer or adapter. So I hope you guys liked it, and if you guys can give me a like, that would be much appreciated, and even more, subscribe, that'd be awesome too. And I just want you guys to have a good day, be safe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Hopefully I'll have something more interesting, you know. But in case you guys, one more thing, in case you want to know the color of this, it's a Rust-Oleum Carbon Mist. Rust-Oleum Carbon Mist Metallic. And I've painted my wheels with Rust-Oleum before, and they hold up pretty good. So just thought I'd share that with you guys too. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.